I'm the Training and Learning Advisor for the FACS team at UNDP, and I will be hosting or facilitating this coming ECA labs and other, obviously, interventions that we might have together as landscape teams, or even as individuals if you want that kind of support. I'm going to start today by just basically inviting us to imagine that we are all together physically. Obviously, we would love that. We know that sometimes that's a bit challenging, but just, use our imagination and make this virtual setup as rich as we can, in terms of engagement and participation. And I always start, typically when we go through these sessions face-to-face, I would start by opening with a big circle of people all together. And I want to share with you a reading that's called The Big Welcome. And again, this is just an offering to welcome you, but also potentially for you to use whenever you facilitate any other multi-stakeholder interventions, because that's a little bit the gist and the purpose of what we're doing today, inviting you to join these sessions as participants and also take in whatever might be useful for you as facilitators and conveners of this kind of spaces. So I'm going to start to read the big welcome to you, and it goes like this. I am so honored to welcome you all here. Take a moment right now to allow yourself to fully arrive. Allow the dust to settle in your mind. Bring your attention to your body, your breath, this present moment. You have arrived. Welcome. We welcome your excitement and your trepidation, your clear inquiries and your big question mark faces. We welcome your wide eyes and open hearts right alongside your side eyes and skepticism. You are welcome here. Your culture is welcome. Your ethnic origin is welcome. Your race, your skin hue, accent, food preferences, and all of the complexities that make up your cultural identity are welcome here. The histories, her stories, and experiences of your ancestors are honored and welcome. We welcome your spiritual practice, your religious affiliation, your spiritual walk. However you hold that aspect of your life is welcome. We welcome you in your ignorance, in your privilege, in your grief, in your love. You're welcome here. We welcome your humor, and we welcome your silent contemplation. We welcome the parts of yourself that you're still figuring out. We welcome you in your roles as change makers, social entrepreneurs, community activists, healers, feelers, intuitives, parents, caretakers, students, artists, magicians, educators. We welcome you to this space here where we have prepared the soil for you to sow the seeds of your leadership visions. Let your roots sink into this nutrient-dense soil, intertwining with the roots of everyone else here and connecting to the roots and the systems of all of the other living things around us as we collectively build our capacity to be well individually and collectively as we lead and do good in the world. Settle in, welcome. So hopefully with that, we've warmed up ourselves up to this shared space. And we are quite a big number today, which is amazing. And I love that we have everyone in the room, 46 people. So I'm going to kindly ask you to just very briefly, we use this check-in technique called one breath introduction, which is just to say whatever you can fit in one breath. And basically that would be name, position, and location, and just one word to describe how you're feeling right now. And in the meantime, if you can also change your names on Zoom to however you want to be addressed, and what landscape group you belong to, that would be also very helpful for us to to organize the breakout rooms and so on. So we're going to go through this, and I'm going to just give an example of how we do it. So Soler Riestra, Training and Learning Advisor for FACS UNDP team, and I'm feeling very excited. Over to you, Courtney.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. I met many of you before, and for those of you that it might be the first time, my name is Courtney Savi Lawrence. I'm also on the UNDP team, the FACS team, as the Collaborative Innovation Specialist. And I am feeling really happy that we're kicking this off today together with you. And I will pass it over to Ibu Rini.
Thank you, Courtney. Hi, everyone. My name is Rini. I'm the technical specialist for GCP project in UNDP. And I'm based in Jakarta. I'm very excited to start this ECA lab. Over to Mas Haris. Mas Haris, mute, Mas.
You're on mute.
The camera is on. Sorry. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Haris Iskandar. I'm from the Jakin, part of the Diameter team with landscape in Siak and Pelalawan based in Jakarta. Thank you. I pass to Mas Yayat.
Thank you, Mas Haris. I'm Yayat Afianto, Technical Officer for Environment Unit, UNDP Indonesia. My feeling right now, I'm really curious about this training. Thank you. Pass to Ajeng.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ajeng Maharani, the project coordinator from Tanah Air Lestari. I'm from Indonesia, and I'm very joyful to join this agenda. Over to Mbak Mila.
Hey everyone. Sorry, I'm trying to open my camera. Thanks, Ajeng. Hi everyone, I'm Mila. I'm from Forest. I'm part of the GIZ Assistant Co-Team project. My role is as a strategic engagement lead in this project. And I'm feeling super delighted to be in this new space of collaborative learning. Thank you. Over to Christina.
Thank you. I'm Christina. I'm the project manager for LASER. I'm feeling excited and also curious for this ECA learning lab series. So over to Meg.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Meg. I am Coltiva's head of programs working with Swiss Contact in the LASER ecosystem. I am extremely optimistic for today's session and our dialogue.
Thank you, Meg. Can you pass it on to someone, please?
Oh, sorry, to Bahram.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bahran. I'm the Swiss Contact MLM manager for Laser Landscape. And yeah, super excited. Looking forward for this discussion in this afternoon. Thank you. Pass to Bara.
Hi everyone, it's Bara here from Earthworm Business Development Partnership Lead. I'm feeling ecstatic about this session. I'm curious as well, and passing it on to Rikto.
Okay, thank you, Mas Bara. Yeah, my name is Rikto. I'm from Earthworm Foundation from Aceh Landscape, so part of Swiss Contact Coalition. So my role is area manager in Aceh Landscape. Thank you. So I pass to Bagus.
Thank you, Mas Rikto. Hello, afternoon from Bogor. I'm Bagus Mardongan Siagian from Diameter Consulting as a community engagement specialist. And I moving forward to Mbak Ajeng.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mas Bagus, I already introduced myself. Maybe you can offer to other. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Bajang. I over to Gazian from SysContact.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Gazian and I'm part of SysContact and become database and administration assistant for LASER. And I'm really eager to learn and open into discussion with SLPI. So thank you, and I'm passing to Mbak Yulia.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Yulia. I'm from Earthworm Foundations, based in Semarang. Currently, I'm in the middle of a plantation. Nice to meet you all. And I feel curious about these sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Over to Ibu Christina Rini from SysContact.
Already, so I offer to who? Syamsul Hadi.
If you have done your check-in already, just please raise your hand on Zoom so that we can visibly know who's done it and who hasn't. Thank you very much. And sorry, Christina, you've passed it on to?
To Syamsul Hadi. Syamsul Hadi. If he's not available, then to Jimmy.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, Jimmy here from Demeter, SPLP project manager, and feeling very curious, excited for this session. Pass it to Godwin.
Good afternoon all. I'm Godwin Limburg, also working for Demeter as a regional manager. I'm based in Samarinda in East Kalimantan and eager to start the session. Pass it on to Leah Ferini.
Hello everyone, I'm Leah Ferini. I'm program manager at SECO, the State Secretariat for Economic Affairs. I'm based in Switzerland and I'm very happy to get to know the SLPI family, and I'm very excited about this training. I pass it over to Dine.
Thank you. Maybe someone else, if that's okay.
Maybe Pak Febri.
I'll volunteer.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Samuel. Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Samuel. I'm from CNP International. I'm a strategic advisor for Asia, and I'm part of the landscape project in Central Kalimantan with Kaleka. So I pass to my colleague, Susan.
Thank you, Samuel. So good morning from the Netherlands. I'm Suzanne. I work also for CNV International. I'm the program coordinator Indonesia, based in Utrecht, the Netherlands. And I'm also very happy to be able to meet all of you virtually today. And like Samuel said, we're working with Kaleka and Central Kalimantan, particularly focusing on the social dialogue with the trade unions. And I'll pass it on to, let's see, John Roy.
Hello everyone. My name is John Roy Sirai from for SPLP Siak Pelalawan. I'm as coordinator village based in Riau. Thank you. Over to Michael Patmanaba Nobo.
Wah, sudah kuduga. Hi everyone. I'm Michael, but you can call me Nobo. I'm the Director of Partnership at Kaleka, our landscape with CNP, SPKS, and the others. And I'm based in Bogor. I feel curious with the coming session and very happy to meet old friends here. Bye. I pass to EGA SPLP.
Oh, sorry, Ega, we can't hear you very well.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Now
Hi,
we can.
everyone. I'm Ega. Yeah, I'm Ega. I'm project manager based in Forest, and I'm part of SECO Pelalawan Landscape team. Yeah, and I'm feeling optimistic that we will. Over to my colleague.
For those of you who have already done it, please kindly raise your hand on Zoom so that we know. And Ega, sorry, who did you pass it on to?
Oh, yeah, okay. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. My name is Intan. I'm from SECO Pelalawan Landscape Program. I'm in Jakarta, and I'm feeling energizing and excited to join this 2-hour sessions with UNDP and SECO. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Intan. Can you please pass it on to someone?
I'll pass it to Bang Patra.
Halo, saya Fatra dari SECO Pelalawan Landscape Program berbasis di SIAK. Sangat tertarik dengan kegiatan ini dan mau sangat menarik lah untuk diikuti. Untuk selanjutnya mungkin Aed.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Aidul Dianto. I'm a village facilitator. I'm so happy to see you all here, and I'm so interested to follow this training. And yeah, I hope I can get more and more lessons from this discussion. So thank you. I'm at village right now, yeah, in my village where I facilitate, yeah, in Penyengat. I just did some discussions with the community here. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Can you pass it on to someone, please?
Okay, next I will go to Ibrahim Bulakna.
Hello, good evening and morning, everyone. My name is Ibrahim, part of the SECO Pelalawan Landscape Program based in Jakarta. Feeling excited and curious at the same time. So thank you for having me here, and over to Mbak Febri.
Hello everyone, I am Febri Rahaningrum. I'm from the United States. I am part of the GIZ protecting landscape. I'm very enthusiastic to this session and also the upcoming session. So I'll pass it to Mbak Amalia, CNP. Over to you.
Hi.
Thank-
Sorry. This is Amalia. I'm from the Sustain Fertility team under GIZ. So I just got out of the forest, but feeling excited and curious and also a bit tired. Thank you.
Thank you, Amalia.
I'll pass it to
All right, couldn't see everyone. Maybe I'll pass it to Shaifuddin. He's here.
Thank
Oh,
you.
to Amalia, sorry.
Maybe we can go to the other Amalia as well in the meantime. Hello,
Yeah.
Amalia.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Hello. My name is Amalia Fala Alam. From SECO Lawan Landscape Program. From CNV. I'm based in Jakarta. Yeah. Looking forward to learn together. Thank you.
Thank you. And please kindly, for all of you who have done already your check-ins, remember to raise your hand so that we know that you've done it. Thank you. Can you pass it on to someone, Amalia, please?
Yeah, I pass on to Samsul Hadi.
Thank you. I think we have a few colleagues that might not be able to speak at the moment. So may I just ask, for those of you who are able to speak, can you please turn on your mics or camera so that we can see you or hear you and we can give you the floor so that you can introduce yourselves? Otherwise, we always welcome you to do this after at any point when you're ready. I can see, okay, we have, yes, Masiwan, welcome.
Yeah, hi, sorry, hi everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Iwan Kurniawan, Program Manager at UNDP Jakarta, and my feeling is very delighted to learn about the session. Over to another Iwan, I think my brother. Pak Iwan? Or Mbak Dina?
I think we have Saifuddin. We can see you now. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's good. I'm sorry before I'm passive English, so let me use bahasa. Saya Saifuddin, sekarang jadi koordinator landscape Kutai Timur. Saya tinggal di Kutai Timur, tepatnya di Kota Sangatta. Thank you.
Thank you, Saifuddin. And Titok?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Tito, project manager from Diameter, part of SECO Lawan Landscape Program. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sudono?
Yeah, hey, good afternoon, guys. So I'm Sudono from Jejakin. I'm one of the co-founders here, based in Jakarta. Excited to be a part of the session today, and yeah, looking forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex, over to you.
Thank you, Sole. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alexandra. I'm the Program and Knowledge Management Analyst with the UNDP team, and I'm based in Portugal. And similarly, I think to two other colleagues, if I remember where, Julia and Amalia, I feel very curious about today's session. And I'll pass it over to Ayu Aizatul.
I think we have a number of colleagues. Yes. Ayu. I said, yes, welcome.
My name is Ayu Aizatul Natasha from Village Facilitator from SECO Lawan Landscape Program in Pelalawan District. I'm so happy to join this moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else that's able to speak and share their videos at this point, please do so before we move on so that we pass on the floor to you. Otherwise, feel free to open your mics and videos whenever you are able to do so. Well, thank you very much. And while I share my screen, maybe some of you are wondering why, we are taking this time to do this practice. And actually, we are going to learn and invite us all to think about, when it comes to effective collaboration, what are the kind of practices and things that can actually invite people to be present, to participate, to share their voices. And check-in is a very important practice that we use, especially in virtual settings where it is kind of easy to basically fall into not being able to share. There's too many people, it's difficult to open your mics, or it's different than when it is on a face-to-face setting. So these kind of practices are very helpful in terms of really creating the space for people to show up and for people to share their voices and participate. So the idea is to welcome us to think about these different tools and framings in a different way, for us as participants, but also as facilitators in these upcoming modules and workshops. And we're going to talk a little bit more about check-in later. But as you've seen in the check-in, the idea of these 2-hour sessions is that we all show up and learn. We really want to hear from you. We truly believe that learning happens in the sharing and in the way that we interact with each other. So that's why also for the next sessions, we are going to invite you to do some pre-reading and watching a few videos, so that we can free up some space of the 2-hour session to work together, to do more conversation and exchange, rather than focus on content delivery and presenting slides to you. The other thing is that we are going to work on applying all of the things that we discuss during these sessions to our work, to our day-to-day work. Again, that's another way of landing the learning. And I want to invite you to see the ECA labs as an ongoing journey, as an ongoing learning journey. Obviously, 2 hours is a short time, but at the same time, it's a lot of time for each and every one of you to be here today. So there are some things that we are going to be able to cover in this space, others that we are going to cover in the time in between sessions. And we're going to evolve these modules based on your needs as we go. If you want to also remove your hands at this point, we can lower all hands. I've done that already. Perfect. Yeah, so we can use that again in the next iterations. So before we jump into our first exercise, I just wanted to share a little bit of framing of how the program was built. And as you know, we looked at all of the assessment needs that were identified in the previous calls that you had with Courtney, with Nicola, with Ibu Rini, with Masiwan. We also looked at the outcomes of the workshop that some of you participated beginning of this year. And so at the center of how these ECA lab sessions have been designed are your needs. And the main needs that you voiced were needed to cover were around multi-stakeholder process design and facilitation, collaboration and systems change, working with government, jurisdictional approaches, working with power and conflict, and team and community building. And so based on those key needs identified, we brought in some experiences, some methodologies, some tools. We will also bring some experts, and they're going to enrich our journey and our learning together throughout the different modules. As I said, the idea is to make this very interactive, experiential, and applied to your actual work. So you are going to see that throughout these sessions, we're going to have some moments of breakout groups where you're going to be invited to apply some of the concepts to your landscape work. And then the other thing is that, as I said, learning, we need to see learning as a continuous journey, but also as a collective responsibility. So, you know, we're all owning this space together. And so the quality of the learning ultimately will be determined by all of us, and the way that we participate and that we show up, how we engage with the content during the session, but also in between sessions. All of that, and that also empowers us all to kind of take part in the success of this journey. Lastly, the learning in these modules is organized in a way that we are going to do some work around focusing on building our own team and community, our own teams and communities. So, for instance, our next exercise is going to be focused on that, on building our own sense of teams at a landscape level, and also broadly as an SLPI family. And then we're also going to have some elements around capacity building of multi-stakeholder collaboration and the different topics and ideas and notions around that. And all of this is going to be sort of packaged together, not only in the 2-hour sessions that we have, but also in the work that we do before and in the work that we do after those sessions. And we're going to unpack that a little bit more, but basically before each session, we're going to invite you to go through some reading and videos around 30 to 45 minutes. Then we're going to have these monthly modules, which are 2 hours long. Then we're going to have some, obviously, up to you time-wise, ideas and prompts on how you can apply all of this in your work after the module. Then we're going to invite you to, if you want, at some point, you can call us in, call me or obviously my colleagues at the UNDP team to support you on implementing ECA and any of the tools and practices that we discuss here to your own reality. If there's anything in any particular intervention that you want to go deeper into, then we can obviously join an on-demand session with you, with your team, with a few of your colleagues, up to you. But I would really encourage you to think about, you know, when this might be useful and helpful to you. In my experience doing this work, it's in those kind of interventions that the learning kind of lands properly, you know, besides the 2-hour sessions. When we go into the actual practice of, I need to apply this to an upcoming workshop, to an upcoming meeting, to the way that I design my next intervention with a particular stakeholder group. And once we start going and working through those details, it becomes much more alive. And then capturing learnings, that's another invitation from our side, that, you know, you just take 30 minutes or so in the next month to share a quick post on the digital platform on how you're going about implementing the things that we are going to learn here today. Very, very quickly, a reminder of the upcoming sessions. Today we have the introduction, and we're going to go through the effective collaborative action components. August is going to focus on the 10 key principles of effective collaborative action, and we're going to go through an interactive exercise of looking into identifying the limiting conditions and signals of change. So this is basically when we think about good collaboration, what are the things that are preventing us from achieving that good collaboration? And that's the limiting conditions. And the signals of change are the things that we can already identify that are positive and that are showing signs of progress. September, we're going to focus on systems thinking, leadership, and change, and we're going to zoom into jurisdictional approaches. October, we're going to focus on working with power, inclusion, and trust, and facilitating breakthrough with the public sector. And November, which is going to be our last session of the year, we're going to look into M&E, monitoring and evaluation, and evaluating and learning. So M, E, and L as well for landscapes. Now, this is going to obviously evolve. It's not set in stone, and we are going to work through with you and the ECA ambassadors to make sure that we adapt this to what's to your ongoing needs and how your needs also, the needs of your work evolve. So let's move into our first exercise. And as I said, we are going to now place our focus on our team building and our community building, and invite you also to think about a different way of approaching the way that we build teams and the way that we build community, which is this idea of focusing on what's strong versus what's wrong. And this comes from a very interesting TED talk around development work, and the idea that many times when we do, or oftentimes in development work, our minds are set up to focus on what needs to be improved, what's wrong, what's not working. And the invitation is, what happens if instead of focusing on that, we work and we build our work through the positives, through starting by looking at what is already there, what's strong, what are our strengths. And that's why we invited you to do the strength assessment. So thank you all of those who managed to complete it. For those of you who didn't manage to complete it, that's okay. You can still do it anytime. And we will provide you with a map of the strengths so that you can, as landscape teams and ourselves as an SLPI family, we can continue identifying those strengths and documenting them. This is the model that's behind the assessment that you did. The via character strengths-based assessment. There are many different models for strength-based analysis. You might have come across others in the past. We've used this because, to my experience, at least, I feel it's the one that is more adapted to the work that we do in terms of how the strengths are grouped and identified. So that's why we offered this model to you. And so you did an assessment, and what we've done is we've collected all the feedback, and we've created one map of all the SLPI family assessment. And you are going to be able to see the top 5 strengths for each person that managed to complete the assessment and send it through. My apologies for those who sent it through yesterday night. Those unfortunately are not reflected today, but I will update the slides for tomorrow, or today or tomorrow. So we're going to share now the link to each one of the whole picture, the top 5 strengths based map for all of the SLPI family, and also for each one of the landscapes. Thank you, Courtney, for sharing the links. And we are going to invite you to go into your breakout groups per landscape team, and to take around 10-12 minutes to work on some of these questions that you can see on the screen. So look at your strengths map, your team strengths map, and have a conversation about what you see, what you notice. Some questions that can prompt that conversation are, what are your strengths as a team? What surprised you? What do you feel you knew already? And how do you complement each other? So you can use those questions as a guiding or as a kickstart, and then obviously let the conversation go wherever it needs to go. And then we will reconvene, come back, just do a brief exchange of what came up in the different groups. And then we will continue to the next phase of today's session, which is going to focus on effective collaborative action and the components. Yes, Courtney, I can see your hand raised.
Great, thank you so much. So just to say, just to explain what I put in the chat box to everybody, there's basically 3 different handouts. The first one, as Soleil mentioned, is the overview of SLPI's top strengths, because she curated and made an analysis for us. Then we have a second one that explains that. And then what you'll see in that third chat that I sent is per landscape, specifically the composition of your team, as Soleil mentioned. So I'm going to open the breakout rooms. We have 12 minutes, and you'll be able to select your landscape, okay? So there will be 4 breakout rooms, one for Diameter, Kaleka, Swiss Contact, and GIZ. So please select into your landscape. We'll continue to share the screen so you can see while you're in the breakout room. The opportunity is for you to really do a review of your team as a whole, the whole composition. And here, as Soleil mentioned, you know, what are the strengths, what surprises you? It will take a moment, right, to look through and make a quick analysis, but you can let us know if 12 minutes, you need more time or not, but we'll start with 12 minutes. So just wanting to explain that I'm opening the breakout rooms, and then we need you to select into the room, okay? And if you need any help or assistance, just let us know in the chat box or unmute your microphone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll see you back in 12 minutes. I can see people joining again. So I'm going to start sharing my screen very briefly. Are we all back? I think so, right? Yes. Excellent. So hopefully you had a fruitful conversation and also pleasantly surprised about the beautiful strengths of your group and your team. I think this is I mean, besides obviously the idea around getting to know each other better and yourselves as teams to get to know each other better as well. In my experience, in our experience, facilitating this kind of spaces, the strength-based assessment or framing for a conversation is a great tool also to use in multi-stakeholder settings, because it allows to bring in that positive tone, that idea of opening conversation through topics that are easy to discuss as well. You know, talking about strengths is something that sets us up for a good conversation with people that we don't know. So the invitation, as I said before, is for us to use these tools as participants of this learning program, but also to think of them in terms of how can I capitalize, how can I use them further in the facilitation and convening and design of multi-stakeholder processes. So going back to the conversations at each landscape team breakout, before we go into a 5-minute break to stretch our legs, grab a beverage if you have one at hand, I would love to hear just very briefly 1 or 2 key things that emerged in each one of the groups in terms of, again, what surprised you, what did you notice, and how do you see this strength-based approach potentially helping you connect and build trust and create a safe environment with your stakeholders at a landscape level. So who would like to go first? I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can see each other better. Who would like to break the ice?
think I can make a start, or Burini,
Yes.
juga boleh, Christina. Okay,
Please,
thank you.
go
So
for it.
yeah, so I mean, all the words that appeared on the map were very inspirational. One that stood out was the word gratitude, and I think that's a really good approach to take when we talk about landscapes, working with people. But we did note that one word that we thought was quite important for our own team, that I can't remember if it appeared on the sheet or not, but was also the word of diversity within our own group as a strength, meaning that we bring together so much different expertise, backgrounds, nationalities, and we really thrive with that.
Thank you very much, Meg. And how do you think, have you managed to get to that point of reflecting on how can this help you in the work that you do with your stakeholders?
Yeah, I think when it comes to like the word gratitude in itself, like just always remembering that, like approaching stakeholders in that way, whether it be farmers, companies, government officials, like bringing the aspect of gratitude for the environment, gratitude for social sustainability across the spectrum is pretty important. And then for diversity, what's clear is that our diverse backgrounds really brings unique perspectives and allows us to troubleshoot some real solutions within the Swiss Contact Consortium.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Who would like to go next? We can pass the virtual ball. Otherwise,
I think Kaleka can go next. Mas Nobo, please.
nice.
All right. Thank you, Mas Samuel. So we we start with a bit confusion with the map, so we need to digest what does the maps present. So we learn from the map, but then finally we discuss about the differences between us, among our consortium member, and we end up in three main strengths of our team, which is a bit surprising, at least for me. So we are strong in love, honesty, and kindness. So that's based on the number of person in its virtue. Yeah, so that's the one that most frequently appear in the map. So love, honesty, and kindness. So and we also discuss about how to complement each other in our team. Then we also realize that we are from some different, we are diverse team. So we conclude that with this diverse background, that's the way we complement each other. So differences make us be unite. I think that's all. Maybe from maybe Mas Samuel, Susan, or Mbak Amal, or the other friend who want to add. The floor is yours. If not, I will give floor back to you, Soleh.
Thank you very much. And it's so powerful to notice that, not only to notice the diversity, but also to think of it as a strength. And how can we encourage our stakeholders to think about that as well? Because oftentimes when we come to a multi-stakeholder setting, there's this pre-assumption that the differences are actually the weakness of the multi-stakeholder setting. And what's coming across here is actually how the diversity and the differences are the things that are making you stronger as a team. So this is a very, very powerful insight that you can take back to your own work and your own multi-stakeholder setting, and how, you know, tools like this one might encourage a multi-stakeholder group to think about differences in a different way, in a more positive way. Thank you, Julia. Another strength is bravery. Definitely, bravery is not only necessary, but essential in the work that we do, right? Because we have to manage that complexity of holding the convening space, holding the space for the stakeholders, but at the same time, being what I call caringly provocative, right? We need to show up as caring and compassionate, and we also need to nudge certain points to make sure that some things change. So bravery is certainly a powerful strength for that. Let's pass it on to the next landscape team. Who would like to go?
Am I allowed to pass it on to some?
Of course.
To
Please.
the forest colleague, please.
All right, maybe I can share from assistant co-team team. You guys might want to add later. We're quite happy to see the map because we thought that the virtue of transcendence is really fundamental in managing this multi-stakeholders complexity of this multi-stakeholder dynamic. So we have a strength in most of that in the virtue of transcendence, like gratitude, hope, humor. We need to have humor and spirituality. And also in the aspect of the humanity and justice that most of us actually choose love, kindness, social intelligence, teamwork, fairness, and leadership as important. And we think that this also a fundamental in the process of understanding the diversity, like you mentioned, Soleh. It's really important to have this perspective as well. So it's something that we noticed that we thought that it's really important, but none of us choosing it. But if we have Ade actually, not Amalia, Febri saying that since Ade, our team leader, is not filling this in, probably he might choose a perspective because perspective is everything. So we thought that this could be a very important wisdom to have in terms of and strength in terms of the kind of work that we are doing. So like when you see discomfort, we're gonna dealing with a lot of discomfort. So we can see that not as discomfort, but more as a strength or as area of growth. And maybe we don't see, we're gonna face a lot of problems, but that we will see it a situation or challenge that we're going to address together. So I think that's the conversation that we had in the group. Probably Amalia, Febri, Ajeng would like to add more. Please.
Thank you very much, Mila. And yes, feel free for the rest of the team to obviously add any comments on the chat. But I really love how you framed it very naturally, you know, this idea of the lenses, right? The reality will show you and bring you different things. And then if you put on the lenses of the positive psychology, let's say, and the strength-based, then you can see those things as opportunities rather than, just difficulties, challenges, or things that are somehow negative. You're kind of embracing this and saying, well, you know, it's actually an opportunity. It's something that we can turn into a positive. And this is a very, very powerful, it's simple, but very, very powerful tool when it comes to effective collaboration, systems change, and working with multiple stakeholders. Framing, tone, it makes a huge difference. Let's go to our last team, if that's okay. Who would like to share?
Hi, Soleh. I can start and Intan here. I think what I think it's interesting to see the result first. Like we are reflecting to our, because not all the team, not all the results of the team are there. So I think just some of us, but we are quite surprised. There are some surprises, but also there are some things that we already know it will be the results. Some of surprising from, I think we came to the, not the conclusions, but we saw that three main features. The character from our team is mainly on the teamwork, spirituality, surprisingly spirituality, also the one of the three main strengths, and also the last one, I think, the humility and also gratitude. That mainly majority of the strengths of our team. We also because we already work for quite some times right now, so we discussed this, and then we have, I mean, the result is quite surprising, a surprise for us. And we do hope that all the team members, because we have quite a big team members, that all the team members can fill it up, and then we can see the result, and then see what our strengths and what need to what the gaps are, and then how we can improve or fill the gap actually.
Thank you very much, Intan. That's fantastic. And you will get, each team will get an editable file, an Excel spreadsheet, but also this map, so that you can keep it alive and continue updating it. And I'm more than happy to also do that. You know, if you keep sending the strength-based assessment, we can collect all that data. I think it's really important to keep this alive, to keep the conversation alive. Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Excellent. So I'm just going to wrap up this this section, and we're going to go for that 5-minute break that you all very much earned and deserve. I just wanted to share very briefly a screenshot of the overall map for the whole of SLPI. So this is the first page, where you have the definitions of each of the strengths. You know, what do we mean by spirituality? What does the model mean by spirituality, by gratitude, by love? And this is a map of the whole SLPI team, including UNDP colleagues and the different landscapes, to the extent of the results that we received. And as you very well say, it's very diverse. You can see strong grouping on humanity and justice as clusters. Also transcendence, as you can see. I was preparing this material, I was pleasantly surprised to see a lot of clustering around love, kindness, teamwork, fairness, but also, you know, creativity, curiosity, as you said and pointed out, spirituality, appreciation of beauty and excellence. So, and the other interesting thing is that all of the strengths are covered. So as a group, we've managed to cover the whole spectrum. And some of us actually have a quite unique thing to offer. For example, Harry's can be our zest, instigator, inspiring. Then we have Jimmy here representing us all on self-regulation as a top 5 strength. And again, you know, we all have all of these strengths. It's just, you know, that we took the top 5, but basically we can all tap on these strengths at any time, at any point in time. So now, just to conclude this section, as we said, the idea is to continue elaborating this learning and taking it into practice by, let me go here, by holding this question of how do we build a strengths-based culture, work culture as teams within our landscape, multi-stakeholder culture as well, as we said, how do we hold these positive lenses and how do we bring that to our multi-stakeholder collaborative processes? And one of the micro practices that we are inviting you to take on for the next month as an experiment, as a practice, is the check-in and continue elaborating on this idea of strength-based culture through your check-ins. Whenever you have a team meeting, you know, it could be an opportunity to spend some time, sorry, trying to open here, to spend some time not only connecting with each other, learning more about each other, as we did on the check-in, inviting all the voices to come in, and the one breath check-in. You can do different ways, and I'm going to share with you alternatives. But combining, you know, this idea of check-in as a practice to bring voices and including people and enabling participation with the strength-based assessment as a way of continuing developing this strength-based culture. And you have this handout. We're going to share it with you so that you can take your time and digest it. But basically, it explains why check-in is important. What are the benefits, which is that it's accessible to everyone and it works for every setting, virtual, face-to-face, it's user-friendly, it's very flexible, agile. Different formats are used. We've experimented today with a one breath check-in for larger groups, all you can say in one breath, but then you can do breakout groups, you can do tables, you can do paired check-in. We also do paired walks for outdoors and longer sessions, and virtual chat check-in, which is the least preferred in a way because it doesn't allow for conversation, but it's also a good tool in virtual settings with big numbers and not that much time. And then for you to continue, you know, practicing, here's a one-pager where we explain how to use the check-in and some ideas on questions that you can use in different meetings. So, you know, one meeting could be around which of my strengths am I more connected to today? That could be a check-in question. Which strength of the team do I need to rely on more today? So all of these questions are inviting us to continue working in this mindset of strength-based, but bringing it to concretely to the here and now, to the moment in which you are connecting as a team. Thinking of our work and our stakeholders, which strength do I notice and from whom of our stakeholders? And one thing I admire from the people we work with is, again, all of these are prompts, and I'm sure you will come up with amazing questions of your own, and feel free to share those on the digital platform. Right on time for the break, we're going to take a 5-minute break so that we can come 30 minutes past the hour. Please don't disconnect from the Zoom, just mute yourselves and put your cameras off, and we will reconvene 30 minutes past the hour because we have a few more things to work through. So see you in 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming back on time. We are about to start, and we are going to start yeah, oh, perfect. I think everyone's back now. And thank you for the music, Courtney. That was lovely. Very soothing. Here it's very early and very cold and wintry. So I really appreciated that. We have Pak Noble back, Excellent. So we are going to power through this last half an hour by sharing a bit more on, focusing a bit more on that capacity building aspect that I shared at the beginning, and talking about effective collaborative action. So I'm going to take around 10 minutes to share some of the key aspects of the methodology, and then we're going to have a breakout group, some time for you to, again, start digesting and thinking about how to apply this to your own landscape work. This is going to be just the beginning of that conversation, as you can imagine. And if you want to continue that conversation, you can continue doing it on your landscape team meetings, and you are more than welcome and invited to ask us if you want to join in at any point to support and facilitate and help you through that conversation on how to apply the methodology. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more at the end. So effective collaborative action is a methodology that came to be as a summary, in a way, of more than 10 years of experience of the UNDP FACTS team in designing, convening multi-stakeholder spaces in different parts of the world for key commodities. And it comes about from lessons learned of what worked and what didn't, what areas we worked on and it really helped, and what areas we should have worked more in order to support these processes even better. So there's a whole range of learnings that came to be into this methodology, but also, and most importantly, the idea that we need to bring about, in order for collaboration to be effective, we need to bring this systems-based perspective, this not only think about effective collaboration in terms of step 1, 2, and 3, but a more holistic perspective. Yeah. And I'm not going to go through the details of this slide. As you can see, there's a lot of words and it's very hard to read. I just wanted to give you a sense of the different parts of the world in which ECA has been applied and is being applied right now, and how every time that we facilitate not only a capacity building, but also this ECA coaching or case clinics where we work through exactly what is it your particular need for your landscape, your particular intervention. When we work through those, that's where all of this experience crystallizes in terms of, bringing in tools, practices, things that work, that didn't work. Now, in terms of the components of the methodology and how you can start thinking about how do I implement ECA, effective collaborative action. ECA has different components. The first components that I want to share with you are the 4 building blocks. And these are not meant to be thought of linearly. So in terms of step 1, 2, 3, and 4, although they can be applied in that way, but rather thought of in terms of areas of work or aspects that you can focus on or might need to focus on when you are designing a multi-stakeholder process or an intervention. So it can be from a longer process to a micro intervention of an upcoming meeting, a workshop, or a 3-year plan. Yeah, it works for both spectrums. And the 4 building blocks are: understand the system, co-create the approach, take collaborative action, and learn and adapt. And understand the system is about becoming aware of the different parts involved in a dialogue, a platform, an event, a meeting, and what are the connections and interactions, what the current situation is, what needs to change. And I know already by reading the proposals and the materials and the needs assessment that you've been doing a lot of work in understanding the system and understanding what is the ecosystem that you need to work on. So some practices that are connected to understanding the system are stakeholder mapping, systems mapping. Those are very concrete examples of how you go about understanding the system. Co-create the approach is once we have a sense of that system. Obviously, this is dynamic and it changes constantly. But once we have a sense of that ecosystem, then the question is, how do we design visions, plans, and pathways that includes key stakeholder voices, views, and needs? How do we make it co-creative, participative? And the key thing in this particular building block is to understand who needs to be involved and how. And how the work of co-creating the approach doesn't only happen when stakeholders come together, but most importantly, it happens before and after that as well. So how do we build trust and safety and connections with the different stakeholders before we bring them together, sitting at the same table? And how do we nurture that afterwards? And then obviously that's 80% of the work. If that groundwork is done really, really well, then the moment in which the stakeholders come together to the table, it becomes much easier. Take collaborative action is about highlighting the importance of working together. This idea of how the diversity makes us stronger and more powerful, what you brought in with the strength-based assessment. And how do we take collective action to bring change in the systems that we work? In taking collaborative action, one of the key lessons that we've learned is that the importance of working on governance, on clear governance structures, who is responsible for what are the different roles, how is that multi-stakeholder collaboration going to be sustained and managed over time, and how are the people participating going to be empowered and take ownership in managing that collaborative effort? And not just necessarily delegating that or relying on, people like us to do that work for them, because then the ownership becomes diluted. Finally, learn and adapt. And this is something that we notice that the learning aspect needs to be ongoing, and yet it is one of the things that we tend to privilege the less and not necessarily assign enough time and space. So making sure that we put in place mechanisms for learning as we go, staying flexible, adapting our course of action. We are very used to creating work plans and long-term work plans, and then life happens. We've seen that in the past years with things like COVID, that disrupt everything. And obviously those are not managed or captured in a traditional work plan. So how do we have a work plan that allows us to have some kind of rigor and methodology and pace, but at the same time stay vigilant to what's going on and flexible to adapt ourselves as we go? Then we have those 4 building blocks, which I think are very helpful in terms of process. How do we design and execute a multi-stakeholder process? In terms of the underlying currents, and I always refer to the essential practices, I always refer to the 4 building blocks as the boat. How do you build a boat? And the essential practices are the underlying currents that might, rock the boat or take it to a different direction. And so how do you notice those and how do you understand those so that you keep the boat going into the right direction? And these underlying currents, we've identified them as building systems leadership capacity. So it's about building the right set of leadership skills that are adequate for the kind of work that we need to do, which is not the traditional leadership, right? It's about self-awareness, working with change, starting in ourselves, and then growing from that into our institutions, the institutions that we are a part of. Inclusion and working with power. So being very intentional about paying attention to power dynamics and how to work around those, how to work through those, understanding how roles are being distributed, how equity manifests or doesn't manifest, how inclusive is the process being, communicating effectively. So paying a lot of attention to how we communicate with stakeholders, but also it's not only about output, it's also about input. How do we listen? And then working through conflict. And this is a very, very critical, essential practice, and then a one that I would say requires a lot of work and that we see needs still to be unpacked and work further. How do we see conflict as something to work with rather than something to shy away from or hide? Because ultimately, if there is conflict and it's unresolved, then that is going to affect the quality of the multi-stakeholder collaboration. So it's not going to work to just hide it or put it under the carpet. So how do we effectively allow for conflict to surface, being aware as well of the different cultural ways in which we deal with conflict differently? How do we allow it to emerge and work through it in a positive and productive way? Finally, we talk about these additional elements, stakeholder actions, which means that we are purposefully identifying, understanding, and engaging and working with our stakeholders and knowing, in a way, setting up what's expected of them, not by us, but by the whole group. So being very explicit about what is expected from each stakeholder, individually and as a group. And in this sense, you know, this is something that's very important to be worked on with the stakeholders themselves. And then the backbone support is about the foundation required in terms of resources, funding, people, manpower, woman power, everything, logistics, coordination, everything that's the backstage that keeps the boat going, right? Finally, we have the 10 key principles of effective collaborative action, and we're going to go into the details of this during the next session, because otherwise it's a lot. But the 10 key principles are in a way a summary of all of the things that I've shared before. And again, trying to bring in this holistic perspective of what are the 10 key things that we need to look at ultimately when we think about multi-stakeholder collaborative processes in an effective way, and how do we understand then what is limiting our capacity to collaborate effectively, and where is actual change and positive action already happening. But I will say for the 10 key principles, let's leave it there and we will continue next session. So now I'm conscious of time, so we're going to have a short initial conversation around applying the building blocks and the essential practice, and the invitation is for you to continue this conversation in your landscape team calls, or as I said, if you want to bring any of us from the UNDP FACS team, myself included, to help facilitate a deeper conversation on this, feel free to reach out to me via email, and we can coordinate and organize that specifically for your landscape. So the prompt question for the next 10 minutes before we close, I would say probably 8 minutes so that we keep some time for a proper closing, is given where you are in your work within your landscape, which building block would you focus on and why? and which essential practice and why? So let's keep it high level because I'm conscious of time and we might not have that much time to go into details. But if you had to choose right now one building block that you need to focus on, which one would it be and why? And which essential practice and why? Does that make sense? Yeah? Shall we give it a go? And then we can come back and do a proper closing and take any of the questions that might be left. We can take them at a landscape level conversation between now and the next session. Yes, Courtney, over to you.
Thanks. So I'll open the breakout rooms and we'll have the same configuration for 8 minutes. But I was just going to ask, Sole, maybe you could show the slide with the building blocks one more time before they go into the breakouts as we prepare the breakouts, just to have that last visual there.
Yes.
Great. So just one moment and the breakout rooms will open. Thank you.
I can also share the link to the presentation. So if you want to have a reference to them. So these are the building blocks and these are the essential practices. Back, everyone. It feels like time flies in this kind of sessions. But I want to be very respectful of everyone's time. And finish by the hour because I'm conscious it's also late for you. So thank you everyone for your engagement, your amazing energy, and for giving this a go. It's, as I said, a starting point. A few remarks before we close. Our next ECA lab session is going to be August 30th. And in the meantime, there's this learning in between that we will send over to you via email, and it will also be on the digital platform. But it will basically touch upon all the things that we've discussed today, the check-in and the strengths-based culture, things that you can do already on your meetings. We would encourage you also to share in the spirit of learn and adapt your learnings on the digital platform so that we can keep the exchange happening between landscapes during this period in between sessions. Inviting you to take again on these peer coaching meetups that started in April. And I think Courtney will share a bit more about that if we have some time today. Otherwise, Courtney, maybe you can let us know how you would like to share more about this. And as I mentioned, feel free to reach out to me directly. You have my email and my contact details to do on-demand ECA support, what we call the case clinic. And I will get that organized. Is there anything you would like to say about the peer coaching, Courtney?
Thank you so much, Soleil. So just very quickly, for those of you that were at the workshop in Jakarta, you're familiar with the peer coaching that we did. We'll reintroduce this concept and this opportunity over the next few weeks. And also same for the ECA ambassadors. So just if you already been volunteering to become the ECA ambassador, just to let you know, we'll also be following up with you quite soon after this session. So I think that's it for now. And a kind reminder to make sure you fill out the attendance sheet so that we can keep track for the certificates. And then of course, Alex has reposted some of the materials. If you haven't joined the digital platform right now, we have 37 people on the digital platform. So you're looking to have everybody on there because we'll put all the resources that are in the chat box that may have been a bit overwhelming today. Everything will be in that one-stop shop for you. So that's it on my side. Thank you so much, Soleil.
Thank you very much, Courtney. And yes, thank you, Alex, as well for sharing the link to joining the platform and the group. We will share that as well on the follow-up. Strongly encourage you to join because that's going to be our virtual community space for the learning in between. And just briefly to say, as you know, we've asked each landscape to nominate ECA ambassadors, and we're going to reach out to you, ambassadors, also for a meeting in between to start kind of activating some of your engagement for the next module. But the idea is that we kind of leverage on these ambassadors to bring the ideas and practice together to each landscape context, and as a sounding board for, you know, the tools and the practices and the experience that we bring to make sure it's relevant for the landscape teams and build up some additional facilitation capacity. So I think that's it. We have also an ask of an online survey to gather your feedback on today's module. So I'm going to leave that on and share it via email as well, because I'm conscious of time, so that if you can please fill that out maybe tomorrow, if today is too late, so that we can really capture your feedback and make sure that we keep learning and adapting. So thank you very much. And if there's anything else, Ibu Rini, please, Courtney, yeah, the floor is yours. I'm very excited. Thank you everyone for this opportunity, and I look forward to the next module.
Great, thank you so much. And maybe Ibu Rini, if you'd like to share the closing words and next steps, and then we can sign off.
Thank you, Courtney. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu atas partisipasinya yang sangat aktif pada hari ini. Untuk selanjutnya kita akan bertemu di modul selanjutnya. Kalau tidak salah di bulan Agustus ya. It will be in August, right, Soleh? For the next module. Kami akan mengirimkan reminder melalui email ke Bapak dan Ibu beserta dengan handout-nya. Dan seperti tadi yang saya sudah sampaikan di chat box, jadi untuk grup SLPI ini kita ada digital platform yang merupakan apalagi namanya information sharing dan juga wadah komunikasi bagi kita semua. Bagi yang belum mendaftarkan diri atau bergabung dalam digital platform, silahkan untuk mendaftar melalui link yang telah saya share juga tadi di chat box. Dan sekali lagi di akhir dari seluruh sesi ECA Lab ini akan kami sediakan sertifikat kepesertaan, dan sertifikat tersebut akan diberikan kepada peserta yang aktif. Oleh karena itu mohon jangan lupa untuk selalu mengisi absensi di setiap sesi atau setiap modul. Mungkin that's all from me, Courtney. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu. Selamat malam, selamat beristirahat. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
See you
Selamat
soon
sore.
again.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thank you,
Thank
Soli.
you.